Sometimes life has a way of pulling you out of the picture, of twisting the narrative, of taking your story and turning it into something it was never meant to be. And when that happens, the world looks at you, judges you, and throws labels on you, labels that don't belong. They take your words, your actions, your heart, and they pull them out of context, distorting the truth. But here's the thing. Just because they took you out of context doesn't mean you've lost your purpose. You're still here. You're still standing. And the truth is, your story isn't finished. God has a way of taking what others misinterpret, misjudge, and misunderstand and turning it into something greater than you could ever imagine. You are not defined by the way others see you. You are defined by who you are when no one's watching. So I want you to hold your head high today. Your context hasn't been lost, it's simply being written. And the best chapters are the ones where you take control and rewrite the story they tried to steal from you. Reclaiming your narrative is one of the most powerful actions you can take in life. We all have stories that define who we are, how we see the world, and how we experience it. But the challenge often arises when those stories are hijacked by external forces, by people who don't know the full picture, by circumstances that make us seem like something we're not, or by situations that distort the truth. When your narrative is taken from you, you lose the power to define your own journey. But here's the truth. It's never too late to take it back. To reclaim your narrative means to take control of the pen and rewrite the parts of your life that have been misunderstood or misrepresented. Life is filled with moments where things are taken out of context, where your intentions are misconstrued, where your actions are interpreted wrongly, and where your story is reduced to a single chapter rather than the full book. The problem with letting others control your narrative is that they don't see the whole story. They only see fragments, and it's from these fragments that they form opinions, judge, and assumptions. They create an image of who you are without ever understanding the deeper layers of who you truly are. Reclaiming your narrative means you stop allowing others to define you by those fragments. It's about not letting someone else's version of you become the reality you accept. When people misunderstand your intentions, your heart, or your journey, you can't let their limited perspective become your prison. No matter how many times you've been misjudged, misrepresented, or mistreated, the power to redefine your story lies within you. You don't have to live in the shadow of someone else's version of your life. Too often, we give away our power by allowing others to control the narrative. We let the opinions of others dictate how we see ourselves, how we respond to challenges, and even how we walk through life. We allow their judgments, however incomplete or inaccurate, to shape our self-worth and our vision for the future. But your story is more than what others see on the surface. There is so much more to who you are than what's visible to the eye or easily understood by the world. Your experiences, your values, your failures, your growth, they all make up a narrative that no one else can fully understand. You've lived through it, you've felt the highs and lows, and you're the only one with the right to tell your story. Reclaiming your narrative also involves healing from past moments where your story was hijacked. Perhaps someone said something about you that stuck with you, and it planted seeds of doubt or shame in your heart. Or maybe you allowed the opinions of others to weigh heavier than your own truth. To reclaim your narrative is to forgive those who may have stolen parts of your story, whether intentionally or not, and to forgive yourself for allowing it to happen. It's about choosing to let go of the past and allowing yourself the freedom to create a new narrative moving forward. In the process of reclaiming your narrative, you also need to be willing to tell the truth about yourself. Your truth, not the version that others expect or want to hear. Telling your truth means embracing the complexities of your own experience. It means acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses, your victories and failures, your joy and your pain. When you tell your truth, you give others permission to do the same. You create a space where authenticity is welcomed, where vulnerability is seen as strength, and where the full story, not just the edited version, is celebrated. Reclaiming your narrative is also about standing firm in your convictions, even when others try to rewrite your story based on their own biases or experiences. The world will always try to categorize you, label you, and fit you into boxes that are comfortable for them. But your life doesn't fit neatly into a box. Your journey is unique, and the way you walk through this world is unlike anyone else's. You are more than your mistakes, more than your past, and more than what others might think of you. The freedom to live authentically comes when you understand that no one has the right to limit your story but you. What's beautiful about reclaiming your narrative is that it empowers you to live with purpose, to show up as your true self, and to stop pretending to be someone you're not in order to fit into the molds society or others try to place you in. When you take control of your story, you set the tone for how you want your life to unfold. You decide what chapter, and you choose where the next chapter will take you. Reclaiming your narrative isn't just about defending yourself or setting the record straight. It's about stepping into your own power and embracing the full scope of your journey. It's about honoring your experiences, no matter how difficult they may have been, and using them as fuel for the future you are creating. Your narrative doesn't belong to anyone else, and it's never too late to take back what was always yours to begin with. It's time to stop letting other people write the story of your life. It's time to take the pen in your hand, stand tall, and begin writing the next chapter in a way that honors the fullness of who you are. Your story is yours to tell, and it's waiting to be told on your terms. Misunderstanding is not your identity. This is one of the most important truths you can embrace. We live in a world where it's easy for people to make judgments based on incomplete information, assumptions, or stereotypes. Sometimes a single moment, a single decision, or even a single word can shape how others see us. And while those perceptions might feel heavy, we have to remember that they do not define who we truly are. They are merely reflections of someone else's view, often a limited or distorted view of us. The reality is, every person has layers, experiences, and stories that are deeper than what meets the eye. When we allow someone's misunderstanding of us to become our identity, we shrink ourselves to fit into their narrow perspective. We stop living authentically and start living to meet the expectations and judgments of others. But that's not the truth of who you are. You are not defined by someone else's misinterpretation of your words, your actions, or your intentions. You are defined by the essence of who you are at your core, by the values you hold, and by the purpose that drives you. It's important to understand that being misunderstood is not a reflection of your worth or your character. In fact, it's often a sign that you're doing something significant, something that challenges the status quo or forces people to see things from a different perspective. Sometimes, when people don't understand us, it's because we're pushing boundaries, breaking out of the molds they've created, or simply being true to ourselves in ways they are not accustomed to. Being misunderstood doesn't mean you're wrong. It often means that you're not conforming to someone else's expectations of who you should be. When we are misunderstood, it's easy to internalize those opinions and let them shape how we view ourselves. We start to question our actions, our worth, and even our purpose. We might begin to doubt ourselves and feel isolated, as though no one really sees us for who we are. But here's the key: other people's misunderstandings don't have the power to change your essence unless you give them that power. The only person who can define your identity is you. Misunderstandings also often stem from a lack of information or context. People form opinions based on snippets of our lives, or they project their own biases and experiences onto us. What they don't see is the full picture, the struggles we've overcome, the lessons we've learned, the growth we've experienced. They don't know the journey that has shaped who we are today, and yet we allow these partial views of us to become the basis for how we view ourselves. The more we internalize those misunderstandings, the further we stray from our true identity. It's crucial to remind ourselves that we are so much more than what others see in brief, disconnected moments. At the heart of embracing this truth is the understanding that our worth is not dependent on external validation. We don't need other people's approval to be whole. It's okay if others don't get us because we know who we are. To stop letting misunderstanding define you, you have to choose to stand firm in your truth. This means embracing who you are, regardless of how others perceive you. It means speaking your truth with confidence, even when it's not well received. It means being at peace with the fact that not everyone will understand your journey or your choices, and that's okay. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to fulfill your purpose. When you embrace your truth, you free yourself from the weight of misperceptions and step into the power of your authentic self. When you stop letting misunderstanding define your identity, you unlock the freedom to live fully and without apology. You release the need for others' approval and begin to walk in the confidence that comes from knowing your worth, regardless of what others think. This is the kind of strength that comes from within. It's the strength that allows you to keep moving forward even when the world misunderstands you. Because at the end of the day, the only opinion that matters is the one you have of yourself. You are not defined by the misunderstandings of others. You are defined by the love, grace, and purpose that live inside you. Growth happens in the mess. Life is rarely neat and tidy. It's messy, unpredictable, and filled with moments of discomfort. We try so hard to avoid the mess, to create a sense of order and control. But the reality is that the most profound growth comes from the very things we often want to avoid: the failures, the challenges, and the setbacks. When life throws us off course, we often think it's a sign that we're doing something wrong. We wish for smooth paths and clear directions, but the truth is, it's in the mess where our most significant transformation occurs. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It doesn't happen when everything is going according to plan, when we're coasting along with no resistance. True growth happens when we are faced with adversity, when things don't go the way we expected, and when we have to wrestle with our own limitations. It's in the moments of struggle, confusion, and chaos that we discover new parts of ourselves, learn deeper lessons, and develop the resilience to handle whatever comes our way. We often overlook these moments because they feel uncomfortable, but these are the moments that shape us into who we are meant to become. The mess of life is not a reflection of failure, it's a sign of progress. We often think of growth as a straight line, something that steadily rises from point A to point B, but in reality, growth is more like a winding road. It's not linear. There are detours, bumps, and setbacks along the way. Every time we face a challenge, every time we fail and get back up again, we are growing. The messiness of life is actually a sign that we're moving forward, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned or when we feel like we've made mistakes. But the mess is actually where the magic happens. It's where we learn, adapt, and evolve. When you embrace the mess, you open yourself up to new possibilities. Instead of resisting the challenges life throws your way, you can begin to see them as opportunities for growth. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to learn more about yourself, to strengthen your character, and to refine your purpose. The mess doesn't have to be something that holds you back. It can be the very thing that propels you forward. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid or something to fear, you can start to see it as the fertile ground where your potential is nurtured and your dreams are shaped. Growth also requires patience. We live in a world that values instant results, but the reality is that transformation takes time. The mess doesn't clean itself up overnight, and neither does personal growth. It's a slow, sometimes painful process, but it's through that process that we become who we are meant to be. Every mistake, every failure, every challenge is an essential part of that journey. When we try to skip over the mess, we miss out on the lessons it offers. we miss out on the wisdom that can only be gained through struggle. Growth is not something that happens by chance. It's something that happens through intentional effort. The truth is that you will never be able to control every aspect of your life, and you will never be able to avoid all the messes that come your way. But you can control how you respond to them. You can choose to face the mess with courage, knowing that it's part of the process of becoming who you were meant to be. You can choose to learn from the mess rather than be defeated by it. When you do, you will discover that the mess is not something to be afraid of. It's something to be grateful for. You are not defined by others' perceptions. It's easy to get caught up in how others see us, to shape our actions and decisions around what we think will gain their approval. Society, family, friends, and even strangers all form opinions about us based on their own experiences, values, and perspectives. But we must understand that how others perceive us is not an accurate reflection of who we truly are. Perception is subjective, and people are often quick to judge without fully understanding the complexities of our lives. When you allow others' perceptions to define you, you give away your power. You let someone else's limited view of you determine your self-worth, your path, and your decisions. This is dangerous because no one else can ever fully understand your journey, your heart, or your purpose. They may see the surface level version of you, but they cannot see the full depth of who you are. They don't know the struggles you've faced, the battles you've won, the dreams you've nurtured, or the lessons you've learned along the way. They only see a snapshot of your life, a fragment of the whole picture, and yet we often allow that to shape our entire identity. It's crucial to recognize that other people's judgments are based on their own filters. They see the world through their own lens, colored by their experiences, fears, biases, and expectations. This means that their perception of you is often distorted, shaped by their own needs and interpretations. It's easy to internalize their views and think that they are truths about us, but we must remember that their perception is not reality. What they think about you is not your truth. Their opinions do not define who you are, nor should they ever dictate how you live your life. When you start living according to others' perceptions of you, you lose sight of your own authentic self. You begin to play a role, pretending to be someone you're not in order to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. You start wearing masks, putting on facades, and suppressing parts of yourself just to gain acceptance. But authenticity is where real power lies. When you stay true to yourself, when you stop allowing others' opinions to dictate your actions, you free yourself to live a life that is aligned with your true purpose. Being misjudged or misunderstood is a natural part of life. Not everyone will see you for who you truly are. Some people will project their own insecurities onto you, while others may simply misunderstand your intentions. But this should not deter you from staying true to your values and convictions. You don't need to change to fit someone else's mold. You don't need to shrink yourself or twist yourself into something you're not in order to please others. You were created to be you, and that's more than enough. The key to reclaiming your power is to stop seeking validation from the outside world. When you rely on others' opinions to define your worth, you give them control over your happiness and sense of self. True empowerment comes when you understand that your worth is inherent, not dependent on anyone's perception of you. You are valuable because you are you, and no one has the right to define that for you. The moment you realize this, you begin to live with a sense of freedom and confidence that is unshaken by others' views. Your identity is yours to define. You have the power to shape your own narrative, to live according to your own values, and to pursue your own purpose. Don't let someone else's limited perception rob you of the truth of who you are. The world may try to label you, but you are not what others say you are. You are who you know yourself to be, and that truth is unchangeable. Your purpose is unshaken by circumstance. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at us, testing our resolve and challenging our sense of direction. There are times when circumstances shift unexpectedly and we find ourselves in situations that seem to question our purpose, or make us feel as though we're off course. It's in these moments when the storms of life hit hardest that we must remind ourselves of one crucial truth. No external circumstance has the power to alter the core of who we are or what we're meant to do. Our purpose remains steady, unshaken by the temporary situations around us. Too often, we let our circumstances define us. When things are going well, it's easy to feel confident and aligned with our purpose. But when things fall apart, when we experience setbacks or challenges, we can start to question everything. We may feel lost, unsure of what we're doing, or like we're drifting without direction. But the truth is that your purpose is not determined by the temporary highs and lows of life. It is a constant, unshakable force that resides within you, far beyond the surface level events that may seem to derail you. Every challenge we face, no matter how difficult, can be an opportunity to grow deeper into our purpose. Difficult moments often reveal strengths we didn't know we had, and they build the resilience necessary to carry us through the rest of our journey. It's in the struggles that we learn to refine our focus, to sharpen our vision, and to push forward with greater determination. The external circumstances that may feel overwhelming are not the defining factors of your journey. It's your internal resolve, the clarity of your purpose, and your willingness to continue moving forward that define who you are and what you're here to do. Circumstances can change in an instant. One moment everything is going according to plan, and the next we find ourselves in a place of uncertainty or difficulty. This is why it's important to understand that your purpose is not tied to any specific moment or external outcome. Whether you are in a season of growth or a season of struggle, your purpose remains constant. It doesn't depend on how smooth the road is or how many obstacles you encounter along the way. It depends on your willingness to keep going, to stay true to what you are meant to do, even when life doesn't look the way you thought it would. When life challenges you, it's not an indication that it's a part of the process that strengthens you and deepens your commitment to your calling. The storms and struggles are not signs that your purpose is wrong. They are signs that you are pushing forward, growing, and moving in the right direction. Your purpose is not fragile. It is built to withstand the tests of life. It is unshaken by the winds of change, by the unexpected turns, or by the hardships that may arise along your path. When you understand that your purpose is unshaken by circumstance, you begin to live with a deeper sense of peace and confidence. You no longer let the ups and downs of life dictate your worth or your direction. Instead, you trust that no matter what happens, you are moving forward in alignment with your true purpose. Even when the world seems uncertain, you stand firm in the knowledge that your purpose is steady, unchanging, and always with you. God uses the misunderstood for greater impact. There is something profoundly powerful in the stories of those who have been misjudged, misrepresented, or overlooked. Throughout history and even in our own lives, we often see that those who face the greatest misunderstandings are the ones who ultimately have the biggest impact. The world may not always recognize your worth or understand your potential, but it is in these moments of being misunderstood that God is working in you, shaping you for something far greater than you can imagine. When you are misunderstood, you are often forced to rely not on the approval of others, but on your faith, your resilience, and your inner strength. The world may try to label you, to limit you, or to tell you who you should be based on its own narrow expectation. But God sees you for who you truly are, and He sees the potential in you that others might overlook. Just like so many figures in the Bible who were misunderstood or underestimated: Joseph, Moses, David, and even Jesus. God has a way of using those who are looked down upon by the world for His greater purposes. These individuals were often seen as unworthy, out of place, or unqualified, but in God's hands, they became instruments of extraordinary change. The power of being misunderstood is that it forces you to step into your true calling, even when others don't understand it. When people misunderstand you, it may seem discouraging, but it can also be the very thing that sharpens your purpose. When the world does not support you or see what you see, you learn to rely on God's guidance rather than the applause of people. You learn to stand firm in what He has called you to do, regardless of how others perceive you. And in that process, God builds in you the strength and resilience that will carry you through every challenge. The misunderstanding you experience can also lead to a deeper connection with your faith. When you're misunderstood, it can feel isolating. But in those moments, God is often drawing you closer to Himself, teaching you that His approval is the only one that matters. The more you learn to stand on His promises and trust in His timing, the more you realize that being misunderstood doesn't diminish your worth or purpose. It actually strengthens it. God uses those who are humble, who have been through struggles and who have faced rejection to make the most profound impact. Those who have been overlooked or written off are often the ones who go on to change the world, not because of what they've accomplished, but because of how they've remained faithful to God through the storms. When God chooses to use the misunderstood, it is often because they have learned to depend on Him fully, not on the opinions of others. It is through the process of being misunderstood that you learn the most powerful lessons about who you are, who God is, and what you are truly capable of. The world might not understand your journey, but God does, and that's what makes all the difference. Your impact is not determined by how many people understand you or agree with you, but by how faithfully you walk in your calling, regardless of the obstacles and misunderstandings along the way. God takes the broken pieces, the misunderstood moments, and He crafts something beautiful and purposeful from them. As we walk through this journey called life, we must remember that we are not defined by the challenges we face, the judgments others place upon us, or the misunderstandings that come our way. We are defined by the strength we find in the mess, the resilience we build when things get hard, and the unwavering faith that sustains us through it all. Our purpose is steadfast, unshaken by the circumstances or the opinions of others. Each moment of misunderstanding, each struggle, and every twist in the road is shaping us into who we are meant to be. When we take control of our narrative, refuse to let the opinions of others dictate our worth, and embrace the growth that comes from the mess, we unlock the true power within us. And we realize that God often uses the misunderstood, the overlooked, and the broken to create the greatest impact. So I encourage you today to stand firm in your truth. Know that your story is not over. And the challenges you face today are not here to break you, they are here to build you. Embrace the power of being misunderstood, because God is shaping you for something far greater than you can see right now. Keep walking in your purpose, knowing that it is not the opinions of others that define you, but the strength, resilience, and grace that God has placed inside of you. You are exactly who you were meant to be, and your journey is unfolding perfectly in His time.